All right, fellas, welcome back to the channel. By now, you guys have had several days to kind of marinate in the big Metazoo community letter that was sent out a few days ago. And I just kind of wanted to go over it, go over what some of these changes might look like, what to kind of expect going forward according to this letter, and whether this is, a something that will help us out, which, I mean, spoiler alert, probably will. Just kind of come with me along this journey. Why won't you? So let me get you guys flipped around real quick. So the letter to the Metazoo community, right? I'm not gonna read through all this, right? I'm just gonna go over through the highlighted points. By this point, you guys have seen most, if not all, of this letter from other creators. But let's go over the pre-orders, right? So starting now, we will only be putting items up for sale that we have available to ship the same day. That is obviously a really good thing. I think the majority of us have been clamoring for Metazoo to stop taking pre-orders on new product when several other releases have been on the back burner for months. It leaves a bad taste in people's mouths when, we're just here waiting. We're just waiting for our product that we've had out for months and months and months. And yes, I get it. The meme right now is native streamer kits. It's close to the year mark. Will we make it to the year before we see them? Who knows, right? But the fact that they will only have items that they haven't had go up for sale, that is a really good start to this, right? Now, can we expect that to be the norm forever? I don't know. I feel like so. I feel like Metazoo doing pre-orders is kind of expected, just like any other retailer does pre-orders for like Pokemon cards, Magic the Gathering, things like that. I think the difference is right now, according to this letter, it makes it seem like going forward, this is the future. They will only sell products that they have in hand and all that good stuff. But I think that's going to be a temporary measure. And the reason I say that is that right now they're trying to work towards gaining back the trust of people, right? They don't want people to have this negative view of Metazoo delivering products like we've had all of 2022 and 2023 essentially, because that makes people not want to pre-order. That makes people not want to spend their money and give their money up front. Because again, I think we've gone over this. The reason Metazoo does pre-orders as opposed to waiting for release and all that good stuff is two reasons, right? One, when you have pre-orders go live, you get a sense of demand for said product, right? So one, it helps determine the demand for the product. And two, it gives them money up front that they can then front the printer to make that product. Print to demand almost, right? Essentially, when Metazoo does this, there's almost a 0% risk on their part because their money, their financials are good. They're just taking your money here, giving it to the printer, and keeping the profit, right? That's why they do it. That it from a business standpoint, it makes sense. If I had a business and I can just take my customers' money, order it, have it ship out a few months later, and then I keep the profit, it almost seems like, I mean, what is like drop shipping is a similar thing almost. It makes sense why they do it from the business side, but it's gotten to the point where obviously it's not trustworthy. They're not trustworthy when it comes to delivering product. Therefore, people have stopped pre-ordering. I'm sure they have seen their pre-orders go from here to here, dude, ridiculously, right? So while they say that they will only be putting items up for sale that they have available to ship the same day, I don't expect that to stay the case. Like, I don't expect it to be like that forever. I expect this to kind of be, kind of a short-term thing while they get the trust back, while they get their printers caught up. That way, once everything is caught up and once their timetables have actually, they all start aligning, they will feel more comfortable offering pre-orders and delivering on said pre-orders without major delays. Now, delays are okay. It happens. Sometimes stuff is out of your control, but not for a whole year, right? Not to the extent of the native streamer kits. Now, like, we see delays in other products quite often, right? We'll see like a couple weeks delay here, maybe a month or two, but that's it. And that's on, like, I know video games is like a whole different medium, but like video games, we see, a month delay, a 2 month delay, a 3 month delay. But we understand that that's, programming, got to get everything going, make sure there's no bugs, go live, etc., right? Regardless, I expect small delays to happen Maybe not this upcoming year because they're scaling back completely, right? But I do expect down the road they will offer pre-orders, and I'm hoping that they can deliver on time. I think pre-orders are not dead. I think they're just temporarily on hold. Once the printer has caught up, we're back to pre-orders, right? So speaking of which, we go back to the document here. So in order to facilitate the prioritization of these pre-order items, they have our full focus. That is to say, we will not be releasing any new products until these pre-orders are fulfilled. Again, that goes back to, trying to get everything caught up. They've released core product, secondary product, ancillary product, or whatever it's called, right? Skateboards, clothing. And granted, not everything is tied to that one printer, right? But almost everything has promo cards, right? Now, in my opinion, it doesn't seem too far-fetched to believe that promo cards aren't the problem. I feel like printing 3,000 promo cards can probably be done a lot faster than hundreds of thousands of products, like, 30, 40,000 booster boxes, 20,000 blisters. I feel like promo cards are not the enemy here. I feel like promo cards they will probably still be here. I don't see them scaling back on that. Granted, they are scaling back on ancillary product, which in turn would equal out to less promo cards throughout the next year or so, right? So essentially, by us catching up with the printers and the product, I do expect less promo cards this year simply because of that, right? We're not going to see a lot of new products. We're not going to see, I expect 2024 is the year of catch up for Metazoo, right? We're going to get everything that we have been waiting for the last year arriving finally this upcoming 2024. And honestly, the only products that I can see, like actual, new products per se, would maybe be War and, okay, maybe three. The only three that I can think of would be War, Yokai Island, and maybe SCP 2.0. Just because SCP is a smaller set, they've already mentioned that there's going to be multiple small sets for SCP to make up one big set. So my belief is if they do, I don't see maybe more than those three new products. Other than the pre-orders that have already gone live that they haven't delivered. So my bet would be War would come out first. Obviously, that's the biggest one that has been delayed. Big core set that is supposed to be a culmination of Cryptid Nation. And then followed by Yokai Island near the end of the year. Basically, if you take a look at the original 2023 roadmap, I would expect a similar release window for War and for Yokai Island in 2024. That's my assumption. That's my guess. And maybe if we're lucky, if they can get caught up by like 2024, middle of 2024, if they can get caught up with other products, we may be lucky and we might even see sort of like a holiday set, like a Halloween set or a Christmas set. Really, that's what they should be focusing on rather than a bunch of extra partnerships and stuff. Yes, partnerships are cool. Collaborations are fun. But, I feel like really, I think a lot of people just love the Halloween sets. They love the Christmas promos. They love that, man. And so, you got to feed into your audience that way as well, right? Because we will support you, right? If you guys get another cool, spooky set out, even if it's a special set or a core set, we're going to purchase it. Same thing with Christmas. People were really excited to hear about maybe a Christmas set in 2023. That's not happening, obviously, because of all the major delays and all the pre-orders. Personally, I would have thought the same thing. It doesn't feel right for them to offer pre-orders for a Christmas product that will likely not get here on time for Christmas when you're just bombarded by fans who are still waiting on pre-orders from 8 or 9 months ago. So good on them for doing that. But speaking of collaborations, let's get down to the next portion of this first page. There's 4 pages. This is going to be a long video, guys. This is going to be at least 40 minutes long, I think, or more. Who knows? But so collaborations, right? We're going to see it's no secret Metazoo's fond of collaborations. That being said, and this should have been highlighted, I think, it is also no secret that these collaborations have created bottlenecks in our supply chain and ability to deliver products on time, right? So that's a big duh. I feel like everybody could see that one, right? And I feel like a lot of people were mentioning it, saying, yo, they're focusing on too many things. There's too many cooks in the kitchen, y'all, right? They had, and here's the thing, right? There's no problem having so many products out like that in a given year if you have your supply chain, if you have your logistics down, right? I mean, how many Pokemon, Pokemon ancillary products are there? Like, there's a trading card game, there's the promo packs, there's skateboards, they got Funko Pops, they've got plushies, they've got T-shirts, and like, bro, like, that is awesome, right? They got McDonald's collaborations from 3 years ago that went wild. Like, all of that is possible, but you first have to build your foundation. You have to get your logistics down. And this is a good step forward. So we continue reading here, right? They're saying Metazoo will instead of producing the end product of these collaborations ourselves, Metazoo will instead only be seeking to license our IP to third parties who take on the role of the production themselves, right? So what does that mean? A big example that I can think of is probably Topps, right? Topps, if I'm not mistaken, and you guys can correct me wrong, but I believe Topps makes their own product. They're the ones that have they're the ones that have their own printers that they send their stuff to get produced. So Metazoo being in collaboration with Topps, that takes off from the print load because Topps have their own production, right? So for example, a big product that people are looking forward to is Topps Sapphire for Metazoo, right? So that collaboration would work without affecting Metazoo's production schedule. So that's the type of collaboration or partners that they're shifting to, which is it's good. And top stuff is pretty high quality from what I've seen. I personally haven't actually collected it, but I mean that's the type of partnerships you're going towards. It's going to be like a Topps Chrome situation or a Topps Series 0, Series 1 situation where Topps produces the cards. Again, I'm pretty sure they're the ones that produce it. Otherwise, ignore everything I just said. And we'll move on. But besides that, so additionally, we will no longer be reprinting core set items with different set symbols in these licensed products. This way, core products can retain as much value to our fans and players as possible. Now, this one was a little confusing, but kind of what we've gathered is, and let me explain why it's confusing, right? So they mentioned that they will no longer be reprinting core set items with different set symbols. What I assume that they mean is that they're not going to, for example, they're not going to take a native card and then, like a Fusion Aura. They're not going to take a native Fusion Aura, make a skateboard out of it, and then plaster a Revive logo on it, causing it to have two variations of the same card. I'm going to assume, and maybe I'm mistaken, for those of you guys who know, please let me know. From my assumption, what they mean by set symbols is stamps. Right? I hope so, because essentially this would be like your eBay boxes, your, let's say like Revive, eBay, Bear Walker had their own stamp, right? Anything that is just anything in general is that's what I'm gathering. I'm assuming that if they do collaborations, because here's the thing, and I've always been a huge proponent of this. They don't have to give us special stamped cards. Make the product packaging different, right? A simple solution to, one, keep the same amount of packs printed for the entire set. However, some of those packs you can use, for example, for the Wilderness eBay exclusive box. If they would have just put regular Wilderness cards into the eBay boosters and they just changed it, I would have still bought it. It's still a variation. It's a nice display piece. Also, excuse my dog, he's afraid of balloons. They just need to be more creative in how they create these collector's items, right? They don't need to be reprinted with a whole different set symbol, a whole different stamp. It can be its own thing. It can be the same thing from that we can get from core boosters, for example. I mean, when you go to Walmart and you see Pokemon, right? They're not using, Chilling Rain with a Walmart logo promo and a Walmart logo, card stamp, right? They're just Chilling Rain packs. They just produce the packs and they put them in a blister, and then they have the Black Star promos. That's all they got to do. And I think that's what they ended up doing, and I don't have them here with me. I think that's what they started doing with Native, because if you guys notice the Native big box promo cards, they don't have the W for Walmart or whatever. It's blank. It's just a regular black label promo, right? It's not a black star. It's a black little banner promo, right? So that's what they need to do. If you're going to be in big box stores, that's great. Don't change up the cards you can pull. Don't make one set more, I guess, wanted, desired because it's rare. Big box is technically rarer than core booster box product. Just make it all the same. Make it the same regular core set booster packs you can pull from booster boxes, blisters, etc., and then give the cool promos. It's the same, right? I mean, that's how every other TCG does it. So that's what I gathered from that regarding the set symbols with the licensed products. We can expect a lot less of those going forward, or a pivot to the way other TCGs do it, where if they do any sort of licensed products, you just get the same packs that you would whatever from the regular set. Is just stamped like promos are given out type of thing, right? So that's that. So that's page 1, right? So let's go to page 2. And for those of you guys who are going to be here the whole video, make sure you guys stretch, because again, we're already 17 minutes in basically, and we're on to page 2 barely. So hold on to your horses. So, all right, page 2 starts with core sets. So core sets are the lifeblood of Metazoo, because LGSs are the lifeblood of any TCG. Okay, so core sets will be delivered to our distributors a full 2 to 3 weeks ahead of the scheduled release date. I'm glad. Literally how it should have been from the beginning. That's what you need to have this product in hand 2 to 3 weeks, if not a little bit more, just in case there's any sort of delays in shipping, so that people have this product on release day, right? Let the partners and let the stores carry the product, have the product in hand, ready to ship out the day of. Like, heck, if they're even allowed to send out or ship out the product like a day or two before, so that it arrives the day of release, that's even better. We see that with video games. You go to GameStop.com, you buy a video game or you pre-order a video game that releases October 10th. You will receive that on release day if you pre-order it. They will ship it out a couple days sooner, and you will have it on release day. Now, yes, some people might get it a day early, but that's fine, because that's going to build even more hype. People are going to be really excited for it. People are going to be pulling cards the day before. You're going to get a little sneak peek, which even it builds to the hype, to the excitement of opening a new product. That's what it should be. It should be an event every 2 to 3 months that a core product gets released. It should be fun. It should be something that people look forward to rip and open and collect and trade and sell and put in your binders. And that's my other thing. I really hope that they can get their binders to the point where they're there at release. If they could have War along with the War binder on release day, you're going to see sales for the binder go up like this. I've known people that instead of buying the Metazoo binders because they weren't available on release, they just buy another binder from, I don't know, Voltex or something, and they use that for their cards. Those binders are really cool, man. I have all of them back there. So I hope, and that's one thing I'm adding. I hope please have the binders along with the set on day one. I hope you guys figure out the manufacturing schedule for that, so that way we can have them. If you guys need to order them in advance, just do it. And heck, you can even make the binders kind of like a little collectible piece as well. You don't have to order a ton. I'm sure you guys have plenty of data from your UFO, from your native, from your seance binder sales, where you guys can come up to an average that you can order, that you can expect to sell through, by end of the year, within a year, or whatever it is that you expect to have them on your site for sale. There's many ways to say, but hopefully please get the binders, right? So yes, 2 to 3 weeks ahead of schedule. That's the way to go about it. That's the way you should be doing it. And then this is the important part right here. These tournament kits. So every delivery will contain tournament kits for pre-release events and release events that support and provide incentives to players and our metazoologists. These tournament kits will include prize cards, special packs, and metazoologist promos, all of which is very typical of the tournament kits from other TCGs. Exactly. Yes. Like, you guys know that you guys have these things called release event boxes. I know, right? Who would have thought? Release event boxes. That's what those things should be used for. I've always thought it was kind of weird how, you know, you get a Pokemon, you get a Pokemon release, like, what do they call theirs? Build and battle kit, right? You get those kits out like a week, or it's actually like 2 weeks prior to the main release, or 2 to 3 weeks prior to the main release of that new set coming out. You got LGSs that will literally sell these kits to their players, to their people that want to get these cards early to see how it is, test it out, and just have a nice little event. That's what they're for. That's what release event boxes are for, and they have not been used that way to my knowledge. They have not been used that way. Release event boxes arrive along with the product. At this point, people who get release event boxes are doing it for a couple of different reasons. One, extra packs. Two, the promos. That's literally it. I only get release event boxes for the promos. I don't even buy the boxes anymore because I can just buy the promos on eBay for like $2 or $3 each. Use your release event boxes for this. Have price cards and special packs like you're mentioning. That's what you should have been doing from the beginning. I'm glad to see it. I'm not a player of the game, right? But I've been into other TCGs that will allow other people to just go in there and purchase like the release event kits or whatever that they send to the stores so that you can see the new cards and you know, just kind of get hyped about it, dude. And so, yes, please continue doing that. That's a great idea. And I'm assuming they will use release event boxes for this. To me, it makes sense. They would have to, you know, maybe they can, or maybe they'll have some sort of like release event boxes that are specific to LGSs for these LGS events. But that's what they should be used for, right? So that's great, right? This is basically Metazoo 2.0. This is like what happened with Flesh and Blood 2.0, right? So Metazoo 2.0, here we go, right? So they will also be, and let me go back to the screen so you guys can read along with me. We will also be making a different version of these tournament kits available to any store that creates events on the Metazoo Play Network to provide a continuous stream of LGS support and pricing. So that's cool. Now, I wonder if this will apply to, for example, I know Argos, I think Argos has held, you know, digital only tournaments. Hopefully that includes like Argos' digital online tournaments that he hosts, because that would be cool for the people that don't have a local game store available to them to be able to have a shot at these prizes or these pack cards and stuff. And with the Metazoo Play Network, the Cryptid Clash, right? It is prime. Like right now, it is the prime way to go about it, like to get to it. And sorry, I'm just cool. So it is the prime way to get new players into the game, to let players who don't have a local game store next to them or near them to be able to enjoy these release events. While doing it all digitally, like just having an online tournament, like that's great, that's awesome, that's fun. And who knows, they might even do like, you know, special things for stores that actually hold in-person events, right? So hats off to them. That seems really cool. If it's an online, if they do online release events like this where you can, you know, go Cryptid Clash and you know, fight it out with your fellow casters for a chance of that, dude, I'm all in for it, man. I think I can pick up the game here and there on the online, on the Cryptid Clash, right? So that's awesome, man. So I'm losing my voice over here. I'm talking way too much. So besides that, let's go back over here. So all core set items, including the tournament kits, will have code cards that provide free booster packs in our upcoming online client. So that's pretty cool. So that's a really cheap way. Well, backtrack. So for me, who likes to open booster boxes and likes to open up promo, what do you call it? Like theme decks and release event boxes and blister packs and things like that. The fact that you will have codes in each card will make it really, really, really easy for just about anybody to pick it up. Very similar to Pokemon where you can get a code card in every single pack. And, you know, that's cool, man. That is so cool. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that so Legacy was supposed to be the first one with code cards. We'll see if that still is the case because they're making it out to be like the Cryptid Clash beta spoilers are actually the ones that you can get first. Again, very confusing. This is exactly why they need to do what what they're saying that they're going to do with this community letter, right? So let's go back to the document. So Cryptic Clash. So we view the growth of our physical player base and our online player base as two sides of the same coin. I agree. Grow both player bases. It will do them wonders, right? So then competitive play. We originally wanted to do 9 Towers and Casters Cup and the Casters Cup in 2023, but felt quite short due to logistical reasons. Cool. Yeah, we knew that. With our new focus on core sets and supporting gameplay at the LGS level, we hope to create a player base of new casters that can both easily qualify for and participate in future Towers and Casters Cup. Yes. So we knew that was coming. We knew that they were canceling all the competitive events. Could have been financial issues with it, logistical issues. More than likely financial issues. It makes no sense to drop that much money on tournaments when you're not that big. You need to grow it. Like, you need to get back to your grassroots effort, right? And that's what they're doing. That's what they're wanting to do, because we got to see action, and this is a great first step. This letter is a phenomenal first step for us fans who have been clamoring to hear this from them for months, if not the whole year, finally acknowledging the issues that have plagued them and taking it on the chin like they should have from the beginning, right? So let's go back to the document. So because the competitive play wasn't fostered at the LGS level, we believe that the Towers were very much putting the cart before the horse. Exactly. I thought that even with the first Casters Cup. I thought, why do they have such a huge amount of money for, like, what, 400 people? Like, it just seemed ridiculously big in terms of pricing and all that and I forgot where the first Casters Cup was held. But it just seemed like that's a lot of money. $100,000 for a card game that it just started, right? The $100,000 was like the main prize or whatever, if I'm not mistaken. That didn't include any of the other stuff, all the product that you received, all the promos, all the other winners down the list. I think of the top 32. From the beginning, I thought that was kind of weird. So I'm kind of happy to see it. They're going to scale back. They're going to have to. You can't be. I mean, even like Flesh and Blood doesn't do big one. I think they're doing like $20,000 tournaments, $10,000 tournaments. I don't even know, what are the callings going for now? Like, how much are they doing? I can't even remember. I think I saw like 5,000, 10,000, whatever it was. But like even Flesh and Blood, who great competitive scene, is not giving $100,000 their first year, or I guess technically second year, right? So glad to see that change. So now, it says here, for that reason, in 2024, we will shift our focus with the release of each core set to running more events with smaller cash and product pricing until Towers and the Casters Cup can be justified for. Exactly. That's exactly what they should have been doing. That's exactly what they're doing, what they should have done from the beginning, and I hope that they completely go through with this. Makes sense. And I'm sure they will, because financially speaking, they were probably bleeding money. Okay. So then, let me get you guys back on my screen here. So for that reason, 2024 will shift our focus with the release of each core set to running more events with smaller cash pricing and product pricing until Towers and Casters Cup can be justified from a player's growth perspective. Thank you. Exactly. Financially, it makes no sense that they were probably bleeding dry, like I mentioned. They're probably just does not make sense for them right now. I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine that they were making nearly the amount of money that they were spending by selling their merch and plushies. And that's another thing. They keep releasing plushies and stuff. And I mean, I guess there's a market for it. Not me personally, right? But excuse me. The fact that they're doing this, that they're stopping this, it sucks for the players. But I think having smaller events with a reasonable cash amount that can entice more people around the nation to actually try out the game and go to the tournaments is a better solution than just having one tower every few months at like one random city in the U.S. Right? So they're making it more accessible. Hopefully this becomes like, you got certain stores or places in, I don't know, Georgia, Texas, Florida, California, whatever it may be, hosting these different events. And then cumulatively, that would lead to the Towers, which would then lead to the Casters Cup. And but you got to start somewhere. You got to start small. Do not go balls deep from the get-go, which is what Casters Cup was. Props to them for doing it, but still could have been done way cheaper, man. But regardless, let's continue on. Let's continue on this journey. Whoop. All right. So, Metazoo has historically run some pretty amazing events and conventions. Okay. That being said, while we view the importance of these events from a marketing standpoint, and this is regarding the Comic Cons, right? In 2024, we would prefer to focus our attention on both events and support players and build bridges to the cryptid community. For this reason, our primary event-driven focus for 2024 will be attending Collecticons, as well as various cryptid-related events, festivals, and conventions around the U.S. And honestly, yes, you got to start off small. I feel like, yes, San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con, in my opinion, great way to get exposure for the brand, right? It's one of those things where the more they see you somewhere, the more somebody is likely to say, oh, hey, I've seen them there, or hey, I've been here several years and they're always here. Let me check out their products finally, right? So from an exposure thing, I think that's a good, the Comic-Cons are cool. I'm sure they're money pits as well. I'm sure that they don't get any of their investment back other than a bunch of, eyeballs on their product. Okay, so with that being said, while we view the importance of these events from a marketing standpoint, this is in reference to the Comic-Cons from this year. They're going to be, we'll prefer to focus our attention on both events that support players and build bridges to the cryptid community. For this reason, our primary event-driven focus for 2024 will be attending Collecticons as well as various cryptid-related events, festivals, and conventions around the U.S., right? So, good on them. I feel like, yes, San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con were huge. Got a lot of people looking at Metazoo. But I feel like the investment, or like the ROI, the return on investment did not pay off, right? Yes, we saw the huge lines for the Hello Kitty San Diego Comic-Con promos, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was San Diego Comic-Con. However, that just does not seem to correlate with the amount of people into Metazoo. That seemed like a lot of convention goers just going there for the free money. Because for a time, those promotional cards were selling for $100, $200. It was basically, hey, you just line up, you wait maybe an hour, you get $100. So that's one thing that I'm glad to see. Collecticon is a little bit different. That's where they started off. I was actually pretty shocked that I could have sworn that they didn't do all the Collecticons this year, and I might be mistaken on that, but it didn't seem like they had a huge presence as they did in 2022. So I'm glad to see them going to Collecticon still. I'm hoping I can go to the Collecticon Dallas, the Dallas, Texas one here this year, 2024 coming up. And obviously the cryptid-related events are like Mothman Festival. I think there's a Loveland Frogman Festival as well. So that's cool. I'm glad they're going to be still at least going to Collecticons. That seems to be where they started, where they should continue to go. Slowly ramp up to those places, right? And they'll figure it out. I could have sworn they did. I think Cashers Cup was at a Collecticon, right? So just keep doing that. Keep doing it until you see your player base grow. And then once it's needed, San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con can be your big Cashers Cup, right? So here we go with the next portion of this beautiful document. The partner program, right? Now this one I think is kind of it's kind of interesting. It's kind of good and bad at the same time. So the partner program has been a huge success in several ways. However, with our focus on the core TCG's presence at LGS's, the partner program won't be expanded during 2024. Several select partners will remain in the program, and we hope they continue to build their communities and support their fans for many years to come. So I would assume, obviously, Argos stays a partner, right? He has done basically so much for the community with the Discord, with his YouTube videos. Like, the community loves him, man. If Metazoo ever gets rid of Argos' partnership, I feel like that's like what the fuck, right? So I guess what we have heard is that the partner program was deemed unfair by a lot of local game stores, being that partners actually got, I think, even cheaper product than some local game stores would get from distribution. They also would get priority for or not priority, but like the partners had access to more things than a regular store would have access to, like certain promos. I think they had like a guaranteed X amount of product, or basically the partner program was deemed unfair to a lot of local game stores, right? So, and it makes sense because when you have somebody, as big as Argos is in the Metazoo community, right? A lot of people trust them, right? There were some local game stores that they were charging MSRP, and there was others that were charging, an arm and a leg for Crypto Nation 1 and Nightfall. But Argos is one of the partners that he just kept it all at the same level, right? If the MSRP is 140, he kept his box at 140, and that just built community trust. And so everybody that I know of in the community, most people tend to go with Argos for their Metazoo products because he built that foundation of trust, and he packages stuff really well. I've ordered a couple things from him. He packages really well. So shout out for the packaging. But when you got Argos getting a huge amount of orders compared to some of the other partners or some of the other LGSs, because like Argos is successful with Metazoo, right? He sold quite a bit, and again, that's great. But I'm assuming that some LGSs are just deemed it unfair to them because they didn't have the market hold that some partners like Argos had, or just things like that. So it's bad to see that the partner program is not expanding for other partners, right? But it's kind of good that they are keeping the most important ones on board while also trying to navigate, getting LGSs back on board with Metazoo and giving Metazoo another shot. Because at this point, the bridges have been burned, as is, local game stores are already operating on very thin margins for most products. So all it takes is one failed product for them to be in the red, and that's just the tragic truth is that it is a dying thing, right? So when you have a bunch of these game stores that dropped $70 a booster box distribution costs for Wilderness and Crypto Nation 2 booster boxes, UFO, etc., and then a month later they can't sell it for even even the cost of that plus shipping. So and Crypto Nation 2 being probably the biggest one, right? $70 booster boxes selling for $20 a box shipped. You can find that deal quite often in many places. Facebook Marketplace, Discord. Same thing with Wilderness. You can get a Wilderness booster box for like $30 shipped and tracked. $30 to $40 shipped and tracked. Right? So from the OGS perspective, I get it, man. I get it. You're losing 50% of your money, and that's assuming that you even sell the product at that lower amount, on top of just being able to sell it, because right now things are not selling. Wilderness and UFO and Crypto Nation 2, they're not selling gangbusters. You're not gonna be selling 100 boxes of Crypto Nation 2 in one day or something. So sad to see the partner program kind of going away, but I'm glad that partners like Argos get to stay on there, and that LGSs will be getting a chance to hopefully rebuild that bridge with Metazoo, kind of start fresh, because I think it's very much needed. So here's the next big one, the Discord. So when Metazoo was first started, it was a grassroots effort by several dozen individuals, many of whom helped build Metazoo into the company it has become. In the past 3 years of growth, the Metazoo Discord has been the primary center of communication for Metazoo news and a way to connect with Metazoo staff. However, this has resulted in a gatekeeping of information that we believe may do more harm than good in the coming year's initiatives. Yes. 100% yes. The Discord was great while it was great. And then as they started growing and the amount of people that pre-ordered items, and again, this is just a bunch of issues that get compounded, right? And we saw this happening with the Order Inquire channel, right? They opened the whole Order Inquire. They're trying to be transparent about the products and where they're at. But the amount of people that were just like, yo, dude, it's been a month, it's been 2 months, my product isn't here, kept flooding it, kept asking questions. They would keep pinning the answer to the shipping hub, where they're at and stuff. But this all goes back to, again, shipping delays, product delays, no communication. And if you asked a question, you'd get muted. If you asked a question regarding, hey, it's been 7 months, where are the native streamer kits? I have $500, $600, $700 out, just waiting on these products. Nothing, crickets, right? So as Metazoo grew, you know what they say, that saying, more money, more problems. Well, same thing. Metazoo grew exponentially almost due to the big COVID boom, and they weren't prepared for the growth, is what I think it is, right? They were not prepared for the massive amount of growth that they experienced. They were not able to adjust accordingly to the demand, because just as quickly as the demand came, it just as quickly died down after COVID. With Wilderness being 100,000 print run, UFO being 100,000 print run, Cryptonation 2 being 100,000 print run, it just oversaturated the market to where it's hardly worth anything, right? But what I'm getting at is they were not prepared for the influx of people. They were not prepared for the amount of issues due to all the shipping delays and all the collaborations. I think what ended up happening is they got ahead of themselves, obviously, right? They started, sprinkling a little collaboration here, another one here, core set over here, and eventually it caught up to them, right? And at first it was fine, right? At first the pre-order delays, it wasn't too massive. In fact, I think the pre-order delay started happening after UFO for the most part, if I'm not mistaken, because Wilderness arrived on time, UFO arrived on time, Seance arrived on time, but for the most part, the ancillary products were the issue, and they continue to be the issue. And then everything after Seance has just been slow. Just so slow to get anything, right? Months and months and months to the point where the vast majority of fans and players and people who love Metazoo or love Metazoo in general, they just stopped pre-ordering. Like myself, I have not pre-ordered anything other than the Hello Kitty was the first product I pre-ordered for Metazoo in almost a year. I stopped making content shortly after Seance released, not because I got out of Metazoo or whatever it may be, but because I had a lot of life stuff going on, a lot of good life stuff, getting a home, getting married, things like that. So I just did not have time to sit down and make content. I was busy with work, busy with wife, busy with, getting a home together, getting the financial stuff straightened out, all that stuff, right? Getting everything in order so that I can start adulting, right? And since I left, right when Seance was just right when Seance dropped, it has been controversy after controversy after controversy. Seance had such a bad rep with all the clumping issues, the mapping issues with the boxes. Right after that is when I left. Right after all the mappable issues with Seance, right? And whatchamacallit. And then it just kept going downhill. That's when all the product delays started happening. But what does this have to do with the Discord? Everything. Because as products started, getting late, people obviously started getting upset. And what is Discord if it's not a public forum, right? And then it gets compounding. It's compounding issue after compounding issue. People, they have an open forum. They talk. If a Metazoo staff member did not like what the person said, or they were too, critical of Metazoo, they would get muted. They would get banned, which then led to the huge, we're going to forgive people in 2023. It's been a long ride with the Discord. It's done a lot of good, but a lot of bad a lot more bad, I think, in the last year, right? So the Discord, it is time. It is time to sunset the Discord. Specifically, they should just leave it for the announcements. Leave it for the announcements. There are plenty of other Discord channels for Metazoo. You guys can find one very easily. And they need to start using their social media more, right? Just make sure if you got an announcement, announce it. Use your Twitter and all this other stuff, right? And for your product delays and your product in general, here's the thing. And this is later on in this document. They will be doing weekly status updates starting supposedly this week of the 18th. If I'm not mistaken, it starts this week. We're supposed to be getting weekly shipping updates. Let's see if it's real. But the Discord's getting sunsetted essentially, and it's a good thing. All the people that are in there can easily find another Metazoo Discord chat, and I'm sure that the vast majority of the ones that actually do care for Metazoo are already in several of the other Metazoo Discords. So good on them. Let's keep it going. So, they encourage you to make your own that fits your niche, and Discord. Okay, great. Okay, so Metazoo is very excited to continue the development of the IP. So the Metazoo manga and all that stuff, they're going to be working on that. The animated shorts and/or animated show and/or shorts, which I still think they shouldn't do shorts. That's just me. I think they should just focus their entire resources on the manga, the book, if they're making a book. And if there is an option of doing an animated show, go balls deep on the animated show. Don't do shorts. I just feel like they're not going to be. It's not going to be as great as people think. Like a short is cool, but I don't think it's going to be. Now, if it's a clip of like the animated show, then that's fine. But like an actual, like a short form video, I don't think it's going to do as good as people think it is. So hopefully they stay away from that. So the final notes. This is the final of this. When I first started Metazoo in 2020, I had very little idea how large it would grow. I can't tell you how exciting this journey has become and what it has meant for my life. With Metazoo, I found purpose, and with the community, I found friends and developed a family. Metazoo is synonymous with the phrase soon. But in the coming months and years, we'll be synonymous with the phrase now. Hopefully, bro. I and the rest of the Metazoo staff want to take this end of the year letter to thank you all for being on this journey with us. This is just the beginning. Michael Waddell, CEO and founder of Metazoo Games. So, yeah, that's the entire 4-page document going over everything, all of the issues that have plagued them all of this year, right? And there's so many ways to go about it. I really hope that they do what I and many other community members want them to do. You know, it feels like everything that they talked about is everything that we have been complaining about and going up in arms about it and trying to get somebody to listen to us because nobody cares or seem to not care. And they would mute people and they would just not want to continue that conversation. Well, now it's here. I'm glad that they made the letter. I'm glad that they're taking some accountability. I'm happy. This completely turns my outlook of 2024 to a much more positive one. Here's the thing. I was expecting to ride this negativity wave for at least another 2 years, 2 to 3. Now, the reason I'm like, one, I really like the product, guys. Like, I really, really love the product. I enjoy the product. I think it's really fun to open the product, to look at all the cool hollows and non-hollows and all the little cryptids and stuff. And it's just really, really cool. I find it very cool. It's something that I enjoy doing. It's something that gives me happiness, right? And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. That's what the hobby is about. You're supposed to be happy with your hobby. You enjoy it. It takes your mind off of the things in life that maybe bring you down, whatever it may be. So I plan on sticking with them, even if it was 2 to 3 years of pure negativity, right? And it's not, you know, people make fun of people like me who like are all over like, oh yeah, we love Metazoo, right? I was like, I'm here to weather the storm. I really here's the thing. Yes, do I have some really highly sought after Metazoo cards? Absolutely. Do I plan on selling them in a bear market? No, not really. Do I plan on selling them in a good market? Probably not, because I like them. You know, it's one of those things where whether it goes to zero or whether the business fails or not, I'm going to like the product for what the product is. Will I be bummed if the company ever stops making product? Absolutely. You know, I want to see new product. I want to be getting all the new core sets and trying to collect them and opening up the packs and, you know, things like I want that to happen. But the vast majority of people that got burned were, just investors who thought this was going to be the next big thing. And hey, I feel like I still think this is one of the next big things, right? If they can continue on this path of transparency, like the letter's a great first step. Now let's act on it, do the action part. And like I was talking to the Discord earlier, you know, all it takes is one good product. If they can just make one good product in 2024, deliver it on time, get their logistics down. If they can do that with at least one product, like, we're going to be fine, right? Keep it going. Hats off to them. They're scaling back their operations significantly, I feel. And with it, of course, is going to come, things like pre-orders no longer being a thing, at least for the foreseeable future. Like, that may impact their bottom line going forward a little bit. But it's all in the sake of making sure they can turn around the ship, right? So I expect 2024 to literally just be the year of catching up. Once they've caught up, I expect pre-orders to go back live. I expect the shipping dates to coincide more accurately once they've gotten a year. Heck, it could be for the next year or two, right? This could be a thing where for the next 2 years, no pre-orders. They just tell you, hey, It's going to drop on this day. We'll have it for sale on the website, or they're going to tell distributors, hey, this product is going to be releasing at X and Y time. Expect it. That's probably what they're going to have to do for at least a couple of years to earn our trust back, to get right with the OGSs, build those bridges again after they've so burned them away, man. And, this is a good step forward. So hopefully they act on it. Of course, we're going to hold them to it. We're supposed to see also this week the 2024 roadmap, right? And I swear, the 2024 roadmap should literally be catch up. Like, that should be the entire roadmap. Catch up, maybe some war, maybe an SCP set, and maybe Yokai Island at the end of the year. But the rest of 2024 should be literally catching up on everything that people have been waiting for. But if you watched this far, dude, hats off to you, man, because this is an hour-long video. Appreciate y'all.